Welcome back. This is Startembetem Fantasy Football Podcast, where fantasy meets gambling. I'm your host, Brendan Shelley. I'm with my man, Dan Ambrose here. Dan, what's going on? It's been a week. We took a little bye week. What's going on with you?
Yeah, not much. Just excited that football's starting, I guess, this weekend, right? College football starts, so at least we get to watch some competitive non-preseason stuff. Heard an interesting thing today on the radio for all you fantasy degens out here. Apparently the local guy here, he said that he's in 81 leagues for fantasy football. That seems a little excessive.
Yeah, it's too much. At that point, you need to spend a whole day just reviewing your lineups, making sure everybody is starting that should be starting. It's too much.
I had to change the channel after I heard that too. I was like, I didn't even want to listen to like how he does it or anything like that.
He's
like,
a best ball, bro.
Like, there's
I guarantee
no way.
you he's a best ball, bro. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's the only way that works. Best ball, if you guys don't know, best ball is literally you just set it and forget it. You draft these guys, you pray they all stay healthy, and it automatically, the best person in that position gets the points.
The whole league does it that way?
The whole league. Everybody,
okay.
Yep. Yeah, no, otherwise it would be cheating. That'd be lazy. There is some automation that can do that. Part of this still be geeking out over here, but I'm not going to get into it. But yes, I think best ball is fun, but you do it in moderation. And you do it if you don't have time to do fantasy football. That's my take on best.
It's like a lottery ticket then.
Yeah, essentially. That's literally what it is.
18-week lottery ticket, right?
Yep, exactly. A lot to talk about today in terms of what we missed. We took a bye week, like I said. I went away for this podcast, literally. Fantasy Football Expo, met some great people, did some really awesome things. We recorded a podcast, and to be frank, we didn't get it out on time, and the NFL is ever evolving. So we figured, let's wait, get this baby right, and come on out today. So what you're about to hear is going to be all up to date and reflective of all preseason football with some expert analysis. We've got Michael Florio from the NFL Network. It's insane. So Michael and I got the opportunity to hang out during the Fantasy Football Expo. I drafted a team for him at the Hall of Fame. It was unbelievable, just surreal. You're drafting a fantasy football team inside of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It was amazing. So got to hang with Michael, and we hit it off, and Michael was gracious enough to offer his presence on the show, which he killed it. We had a good time.
Yeah, no, that is great. How does that work then with the teams that you guys drafted? You just, one of you is taking over for the year to make sure everybody's active, or what?
Yeah, essentially. So I drafted a team. It's called the Fans Classic. They have the Kings Classic, which is the experts, and then the Fans Classic.
Oh, you're not invited to that one, right?
No, I'm not in the experts one. No, I mean, everybody's listened to these episodes. I'm not an expert. Yeah. So I was selected to pick for Michael. So I got to hang out with Michael beforehand. He kind of gave me who he wanted that I had to take, and you'll hear that in that segment that we posted mid-show here. So it was pretty fun. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. It was an amazing experience. Shout out to Nate and Bob Long. Both those gentlemen just killed it with the Fantasy Football Expo. Really great experience, 100% worth the money, and just got some really good tips, really good fantasy knowledge, some editing skills and networking, you name it. But more importantly, I got friends out of there that were awesome, and everybody there was just super friendly, very approachable, and it's fantastic. So great experience. Highly recommend. Fantasy Football Expo 2026. I will see you there. All right. Just throwing that out there. Dan, you coming next time?
Oh, yeah. How could I not after that
you have to.
explanation?
Yeah. Yes, you have to. But a lot of big updates. Some backfields kind of got mixed up, and we got some injuries. We got a bunch of things. We're going to get into that segment with Michael Florio himself. He's going to talk about pretty much all of those pressing concerns you have for your fantasy teams. But I got Dan here, and Dan and I, what we talk about is gambling. So Dan, let's get into kind of how some of these odds have changed or totals have differed since the original assessment back early July.
Right. So I would say that not many have changed as far as the odds go. A couple of them have been added, though. So one of the ones that were not on there when we initially recorded was Christian McCaffrey's rushing yards. I think there was still some hesitation to see if he was going to be playing to start the season, which apparently he is now because it has just posted. And Brendan, you had 1,150 yards prediction, and 950 is the lowest you can see. So 950.5 is what the sports books came up with.
Smash.
Yep.
I'm all about that life. I love Christian McCaffrey, everything I'm reading, and Kyle Shanahan literally is walking around with an erection every day, talking about his workouts and how he's back, and he's just a freak of nature. And I'm excited to hear this because he is a freak of nature. When he's healthy, he is the RB1 in my mind. If he can do anything close to what he did a couple of years ago, where he played 16 games, we're talking fantasy glory there. So I'm excited. I'm going to smash Christian McCaffrey bets all day because in reality, what is San Fran going to do otherwise? They got Ricky Pearsall that looks fun, but Juwan Jennings is got a contract hamstring problem or whatever is going on with him. Brandon Ayuk, we all know he's going to take a little bit coming back, and he's got that weird drama going on. So other than Kittle, Christian McCaffrey's he's the GOAT there.
Yeah, so I think one other key to that is, and I've mentioned it before, is that San Francisco has the easiest schedule this year out of all teams when you're comparing to win-losses from last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's going to play into that as well. And I actually think the 49ers are going to be really, really good. I don't know if we talked about it on that one episode, but I'm saying Bengals 49ers in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you said that. I nodded my head the first time. I'll nod again.
You saw the stat, right? Like the 49ers, they don't just make the playoff. They either go to the conference championship or the Super Bowl, right? So
yeah,
there's no early exits.
No, and that's science, of course. So
yeah,
got to go with those.
Definitely have to always follow trends, whether it's roulette, baccarat, or football, I guess.
Facts all day. Yeah.
The other wager that has been added to the board that we didn't have before was Caleb Williams rushing yards. Ooh. And it looks like, Brendan, they may have copied or listened to the show because you had 450 and they put it at 425.5.
60% of the time it works every time.
Right. So I'm sure that's all they were waiting for. It was just for your show for our show to post. And then they're like, oh, we can put the line up.
Oh, for sure. And like I said, we did these back in July. It was fun. These were the old-fashioned way for the folks, first-time listeners. I understand we're tagging a big name here. You never heard of us, so we understand that. Hopefully we're killing it here. Otherwise, we don't care. We're going to do this regardless. But if you go back, we did a couple prediction shows, and we told you where our wagers are. I'm big on Caleb Williams, and I saw a couple other wagers with this as well, one of which was we have him ranked as our 7th best quarterback. Well, I have him ranked. Dan wants no parts of the rankings, but Dan likes the action though. He was at 3,550.5 yards. My total projection this year is at 4,200. That came out months ago, and now he's checking those boxes in the preseason. So I'm pretty happy about our 4,200 bet because this other bet kind of coincides with it. You can get him at plus 200 for Caleb Williams to break 4,000 yards. I see great value in that. I really do.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's funny you say that too because I texted one of my friends who's a Bears fan, and I said, if he keeps this up, he might get to 5,000.
Yeah, right. There it is. First spare to break 4K over the 4, and 5K. Yeah. Right? No, yeah, that's a milestone. That's the new one. So 2-to-1 odds, basically, if you want to bet Caleb Williams for over 4,000 yards. That's another bet. We're locking it up today. It's going to be in our tracker. This is what we do. And what else you got for me?
That would be it. That's for everything else is pretty much stayed the same. I did look.
I think you purposely ran over one person. This person has hit a lot of points in our show. His name's Justin Fields. Was anything came out about him? Any rushing totals, perhaps?
Oh, yeah, he did. That's right. We did add that in there. 649.5 is what they had. You have him at 850, so obviously that cashes by week 13-ish probably. So that should be a pretty solid bet there for you.
For our new listeners, there is a I figure I'm a glutton for punishment. Justin Fields has carried my teams, but then crushed my teams in the past, just like my hopes and dreams. He's probably going to do the same thing this year. I've kind of gone all in on him. I like him in Tanner Engstrand's offense. Michael and I will talk about that later on, but I'm high on that, and I'm really excited to see him play in that. And I think 650 is smash too as well. So betting the over, this bet just came out, so this is one of our newer bets. I figure if Justin Fields is going to fail, I might as well just keep following it. Just throw some more money down, and hopefully one of them hits. We'll see. So I'm betting Justin Fields pretty much over on pass yards, and Justin Fields over on passing touchdowns. This is my favorite bet of Justin Fields. The line, if you forget, had plus 100 odds at 14 touchdowns. My predictions have him at 24 touchdowns. So follow me if you want to be miserable. So that is what I'm going to be doing. Dan, will you be following me?
No, I don't want to be miserable. I'm actually in pretty good mood right now.
That's good news. I'm excited for heartburn and stress. So it's going to be wonderful. All right. Anything else we got going on?
So the last thing that we should talk about probably is the Breece Hall. I know you kind of mentioned in the previous show that he may be splitting time. There might be a 2 running back thing there. So what's the update for the Jets there?
It's looking more and more like it's probably going to be a 2-way backfield. You got to think Tanner coming from Detroit, he might be bringing some of that Montgomery Gibbs backfield going on there, with Breece kind of being the change of pace back, it looks like, whereas Braylon's going to be the starter. This is solely based off rumor mills and what we've seen in the preseason, and he'd never want to put too much emphasis on it, but it is looking more and more like a Braylon Allen backfield, and I really don't feel good about my over 900.5 prediction. I think I had Breece at 1150. I'm not feeling happy about that number now. So
yeah, I mean, with that, I mean, I would think you would maybe look at the under. I mean,
Yeah,
even last year, he did 876 as we'll call it the
Mhm.
main back, right? And he missed 1 game, it looks like. I mean,
He was in
maybe you'd look at the
an
under.
atrocious offense with a worse offensive line. And on top of it, though,
Well, what's going to happen this
was-
year whenever the quarterback can't throw the ball?
Oh, you love Justin Fields. I know you love him.
But it's just a
yeah,
question
Breece
that
Hall-
I'm not asking it. The people are asking it.
The reason why I had Breece Hall higher this year was because I figured he's finally fully healthy. It was fun to see him a couple years ago when he was at full speed. He got hurt, a really bad injury. And I think, honestly, I think it took him 2 seasons to come back. I think last season he was not fully himself. He's come out in camp a couple times and said, I feel like I'm 100%. And for somebody to specifically go out of their way to say that just shows you that that was the scenario. So I had faith, but Aaron Glenn's got more faith in Braylon Allen, apparently does not care about my bets. So damn you, Aaron. All right. So that's where we're at. That's kind of my thought process. And I guess we'll kick it over now to that interview. I know a lot of you viewed in for that. You don't give a shit about Dan or I, and I hope you guys did enjoy this. If you did, please follow us. We'll be getting out content every week. We talk specifically your fantasy lineups, what you should be doing in our opinion, and some bets that we will make that weekend with our props. We're big on props. We're big on finding little obscure bets with good value. When I say value, that means we're both heavy on them and they can both gain you money. So we'll wait no further. Live, coming to you, not live. The NFL Network, Rotoballer, Bills Banter. He's on everything. It's Michael Florio. You can follow him at Michael F. Florio on X, and he has a great show if you get a chance. Like I said, the Bills Banter, it is a fun one. He's actually with Stevie Johnson, the old former wide receiver, Speed Demon. So definitely check it out. 100% worth it. Great guy, stand-up dude getting on this show. I really equate this to, I was talking to Dan about this earlier. If you're Seinfeld fans, this is 100% Kramer hosting the Merv Griffith show in his living room. I'm sure Michael came in this show like, what the hell is going on here? Where is everybody? So that's what's going to happen, and hopefully you enjoy it. Thank you. All right, and this is a very, very special occasion. We have Michael Florio of the NFL Network joining us. Michael, great to have you here, man. I'm honored. Thank you. Very gracious of you to join us.
Thank you for having me. We had a lot of fun out in Canton. It was like 2 weeks ago now at this point.
Yeah.
The days are just blending together for me. But yeah, it was a great time out there. And look, always happy to talk some fantasy.
Yeah, for real. And that's where we want you to step in. Obviously, this podcast, we get into a lot of things. Fantasy is one of the key factors. Having an expert like you is awesome. So before we get into your top guys to talk about, I do have to bring up one thing. I know I've read a couple articles of yours. It came out after my rankings for the people that have listened previously. Justin Fields, you're pretty high on him. Are you still high on him after this preseason?
Yeah, I am. I don't. One, I think we've reached a point where we're investing too much into preseason. Like, look, I'm not saying there's nothing valuable about preseason, but everyone being like, he's getting the snaps here, and this is, and it's like, we got to remember that coaches aren't showing us stuff in preseason. Like,
Right.
So I think the passing attack for the Jets has been very vanilla. I think it will be pretty vanilla in season, but they're clearly going to run the ball nonstop. And Justin Fields is I would say the only quarterback whose look, it's like a less than 1% chance, maybe you could argue, but like whose ceiling is 1,000 yards and double-digit rushing touchdowns.
Right.
I don't care what he does as a passer after that, like that's a cherry on top. So, but I do think a career year could be in store because he's coming off of a season best as metric-wise as a passer.
Mm-hmm.
And what the Steelers changed was it was a lot of just like short, quick stuff. The Bears were just like, you're either going to run or you're going to throw it 40 yards downfield. And obviously that's not going to lead to success. Mm-hmm. I think with the Jets, we get a lot of dump-offs to Breece Hall, a lot of short, quick stuff to Garrett Wilson, maybe Mason Taylor, someone else gets involved. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, the rushing is all. And the offseason is just going to continue to make him get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper in drafts.
Totally with you. I am super high on Justin Fields. My co-host is not. His name's Dan. He's not here, and he would just be wasting time right now. But you checked all the boxes, bro. I know everything about there. I love it. Tanner Eggsfriend, I'm sorry I can't say his name right, but coming from the Lions, I'm hoping he brings some of that there, and they're going to have a lot of fun. I think Justin Fields to the moon. I love it. Michael talked about how he and I met at the Fantasy Football Expo. I had the pleasure of drafting for Michael. I represented him in what's called the Fans Classic. I got to sit in the Hall of Fame and draft a fantasy football team. Michael was in the other room drafting with the experts, but we met up the night before, went over a little kind of game plan, and I had to go in that draft like Kevin Costner in that horrible movie. No, I'm not talking about Waterworld. I'm talking about draft day. And I had a piece of paper. I had to slam on the table and take Travion Henderson. Why do you love Travion Henderson so much? What is the thing with him? Tell me why he's going to win the league for us.
I love him almost as much as I love Draft Day. Look, I know Draft Day is not a great movie.
It's so bad.
I watch it every year the week of the draft because it gets me pumped up for it. It's the only time I will ever watch it, but it gets me pumped up for the NFL draft. So I watch it. And speaking of the NFL draft, I know Travion Henderson is a very trendy name right now. Mm-hmm. I had him as my RB2 behind only Ashton Genty before the NFL, amongst rookies going into the NFL draft. And I remember in dynasty drafts, like rookie drafts after the NFL draft, taking Henderson over Hampton, and people were like, the reactions ranged from like, that's a hot take, but I could see it, to like, this guy's an absolute crazy. And now everyone loves Henderson. The reason I like him so much, and I was so high on him before the draft, is because I view running backs differently than, say, an NFL scout. An NFL scout's going to fall in love with someone like Hampton because he was built to carry the ball 300 times. Henderson was built to thrive in fantasy football because I look for certain traits in running backs. And the biggest thing, because working for NFL, our standard scoring now is PPR, and I think most people's standard leagues are PPR now. Like, standard is a thing of the past. We live in a PPR world. So you need to be able to catch passes. But to be on the field to catch those passes, you need to be able to pass protect. It's why I'm worried about someone like Tyrone Tracy losing out on pass game volume, even though people are like, he's a former receiver. Yeah, but he was one of the worst pass blockers at the running back position last year. Henderson... There's like a 3-minute clip, you could go find it on Twitter, of him just like thriving in pass protection in college. So he could do both of those things to get him on the field in the passing situations, which should lead to PPR points. But also, he is a home run hitter as a runner. So the thing with rookies is, and this could apply to RJ Harvey and Hampton and anyone not named Genty, coaches don't always love to just give them the full workload. So someone like Henderson doesn't need 25 touches to be effective. He could get 15 and he could hit a home run or two in there. And he's shifty, explosive speed, good burst, all of that. I think speed is the most underrated aspect in fantasy football because it turns a 10-yard play into a 50-yard play. Like that is how you get those big breakout plays, which lead to the big breakouts in the season. And Henderson has every trait that I want to check for a fantasy football running back. So you could argue that other people, maybe Hampton is better built to handle a full backfield. I don't care because all I care about is fantasy points, and I think Henderson is going to score a ton of them.
I love him. I've gone deep after our conversations, and I've seen the same thing. The pass pro is there. There's no question. I just don't like Ramondre Stevenson still there. I don't like him. He's semi-healthy. You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll see. I got him. He's on our team. Championship. That's all I got to say.
The one thing I will say about Stevenson is he's an old regime guy, whereas all of these other rookies are dealing with other backs brought by this current coaching staff. And the last time Josh McDaniels was there, look, Stevenson, I think, was a rookie or a second-year player, but he was a backup.
Right.
And then they came in and they're like, we know what we have in Stevenson. We're going to take him. Like, I think he's their guy.
That's a good call out. 100%. It gives me more faith in it. I had already backed you on it, but I love it more now. Give me some more. I know you wanted to talk about Isaiah Pacheco. What's going on with him? Are we worried about Brashard Smith? Should we be? People are like, don't, because he's 7th round pick. Well, guess what? Pacheco was too. So people forget about that. Tell me a little bit about him.
I'm not going to hold the 7th round pick thing against Smith, although like someone pushed back on me on Twitter the other day about Pacheco, and I was like, that's the exception, not the rule. But Smith is running with the 3s in a lot of camp this summer. The thing about Pacheco, in my opinion, is if he never came back last season, if he was just like, after he fractured his fibula, he was like, I'll see you in 2025, I think his ADP would be higher right now. I think a lot of people have this lasting memory of someone who clearly wasn't healthy, who was coming off of an injury that saps explosiveness for the first couple of months you're back. Remember when Tony Pollard fractured his fibula in January? It took him about to like October to get back to himself. Well, Pacheco broke his in week 2. He's already almost a year removed from it. He's looking like himself again. He had 1 touch in the preseason game the other day. He reached 17 miles per hour. He did that on good. 3 touches after he returned from injury. So, look, I get it. Like, people are, his running style and maybe Smith gets some passing downs there. Yep. To me, getting him as a RB3 all summer is getting him at his floor, because I still believe Pacheco, if given a chance to be a 3-down back, could be one. And if you're a 3-down back on the Chiefs, you're an RB1, maybe top 5. Like, that's your ceiling. And yet this guy's going outside the top 25. I think splitting the difference, which is about where I have him ranked, gives you the comfort of like, I'm not going all in on a risky guy a little bit, but like he could still outlive that. So I think I have him somewhere like RB 18. Whereas consensus for this summer, he was like, at one point he was going outside the top 30, and I was like, This is just insane. So I have Pacheco on a ton of teams, and I'll have him on a bunch more before all is said and done.
Yeah, I like it. His current ADP is coming around 66th. That's what he's at right now. Brashard Smith, just throwing it out there for people, 202 to 240, right around there, rounds 14 through 18. So you can get some value out of that, but I do like Pacheco. I think seeing him play, seeing him suit up and run through people, I like that. I also, though, I do want to, the people that have listened before, I try not to target violent players, and Pacheco is. He looks for contact, and I love that about him. But right on, man. Give me something going on. Like, this is a hot topic right here. The whole Seattle Seahawks, their running backs looked unbelievable, but one guy wasn't on the field. What's going on there? And tell me, are we drafting him higher? Is Charbonnet? We're basically give me Kenneth Walker. What are we doing here? How high are you? Where are you at with this?
I, like Pacheco, feel that I have Kenneth Walker ranked in a place that factors in the risk. I have him right around where I have Pacheco. I think he's like a spot behind Pacheco or ahead of Pacheco for me. I'd have to double check that, but the risk is tied in there because, look, I'm not going to come out and say there's no risk with Kenneth Walker. He struggles to stay on the field, and he's dealing with a foot issue right now. But the upside is everything that we thought he could be after his rookie year, which, like, people were ranking him top 5, top 10 at that point, and he has all the explosiveness in the world. Last year, he was really targeted heavily in the passing game for the first time in his career. Now, I know it's a different OC, but he's shown that he can win as a pass catcher. I don't think they'll just completely get away from that. But they're running Clint Kubiak is an outside zone run scheme heavy, and I just think that is a system that Kenneth Walker is going to thrive in. I think they're going to run a lot more than they did last year, where they were towards the bottom of the league. And look, the risk is going to be there, and that's why Kenneth Walker is not going as a top 15 running back. But the upside is that in this team, he has a career year, and again, top 10, top 5 is in the range of outcomes. He's that explosive if he could stay healthy. But the risk is if he misses time, it's really hard to get both him and Charbonnet. It's possible, but you have to be willing to commit like a third, fourth round pick on Walker, and then like a 7th round pick on Charbonnet.
You nailed it too. He's Walker's going 42nd right now currently, and Charbonnet's going around 98. I love Kubiak there. I like the outside run scheme. I think it's home run hitters like we talked about earlier. These guys can take off both Charbonnet and Walker, but Walker needs to stay healthy. I do feel you on that one. Muddy backfields. Let's stick with it. These are what everybody wants to hear, Michael. So, R.J. Harvey, J.K. Dobbins, and why? Give me something here.
I'm an R.J. Harvey guy, and I've had an interesting summer with R.J. Harvey because I loved him as a prospect. Like I was like after the big names at the like the Travions and the Hamptons and the Genties, like he was one of my favorite prospects because he's an explosive runner and he's a weapon out of the backfield. As I always, when I'm watching for the NFL draft, I write one of 3 things. I write like not going to be used in the passing game at all, like will catch the ball, like that are thrown to him can catch it, or like a true weapon out of the passing attack where you could be versatile with them, move them around, throw down fields. And RJ Harvey to me is a weapon like that. And I think Sean Payton, like it's the ultimate landing spot because no one throws to their running backs more than Sean Payton. But when J.K. Dobbins signed there, I thought people were like burying their heels in and like, I'm not going to move off of my R.J. Harvey stance. But that has changed, and R.J. Harvey is now going something like RB21, whereas it was like there was a time this summer where he was top 15. And I'm back in now on him at this cost. I was like, look, if you're going to make me pay a top 15 cost for him, I'm out. But at like 21, 22, I think he will be the back that catches. I know this sounds a little counterintuitive. Like Dobbins was playing third down for the preseason, but Sean Payton designed so many RB targets that first and second down are actually the more pass down friendly downs historically for him with running backs. So I think we'll see a lot of RJ Harvey there. Just an explosive runner on a team that is going to throw the ball a bunch to the running back. I have concerns about Dobbins being the goal line back more than anything, but to me, Dobbins is a safe floor play, something you could use as like a flex or an RB2 weekly, where I think RJ Harvey has the upside to, everything breaks right, he has league-winning upside. But more realistically, I think he has the upside of being top 20, top 15 running back in year 1.
I can see it. Peyton feeds his backs. We know that. So if he has that potential and he gets those opportunities, I can see it as well. I like RJ Harvey. I'm high on him. I think like everybody makes a big deal. You said it first. Preseason, let's take it easy,
Yeah.
Just because Dobbins getting time here and there, it doesn't mean anything. I think Peyton is an old school kind of guy, and he's making kind of RJ Harvey earn his keep, whereas Dobbins is the veteran coming in. But if you look at the metrics from last year too, I think Dobbins was averaging like 3.7 yards a carry too. So I'm sure those guys see that as well. He played well for the Chargers. He just did not have the productivity you think he did. He was not an efficient back.
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah. So, all right, another guy. Let's get in. We kind of talked about running backs. I'm going to throw you a curveball here because we didn't get into it yet. But A-Chain, soft tissue injuries. And now on top of it, we have this whole Jalen Wright's playing like crap in the preseason. Are we going Ollie Gordon? What are you doing with the Dolphins running back? Are you just staying away from every Dolphin player?
I'm staying away from every Dolphin but one, and it is Devon Achane, which this injury really obviously makes it a lot trickier. I'm hoping that he falls a bit in drafts, but I haven't lowered him yet. We still have to, we still are a couple weeks out from week 1, so it's one of those things. I don't care about, him getting snaps in the preseason. I just want him healthy for week 1. So I get it if the injury scares you off of him a bit, but I have him ranked as my RB4. I am bullish on him because, again, going back to the whole speed
home
thing,
run hitter.
He averaged almost 8 yards per carry as a rookie in one of the most efficient running back seasons we've ever seen. And then last year, no running back had more points as a receiver than Devon Achane. So I look at him as a player that could win in a number of different ways. If the Dolphins are trailing, it's good for Achane. They're going to throw him the ball plenty. If they're winning, it's good for Achane. They're going to give him carries. He's game script dependent. He is their offense too, because last year the Dolphins threw the deep ball the fewest in the league. Yeah. And it really just their offense was throw to Achane or Jonnu Smith. And I think that was by design because they didn't want Tua in the pocket, holding the ball, taking hits. So I expect a lot of pass game usage. And if I could speak to Tyreek Hill for a second,
Oh,
stop
please.
trying to get my man off the field on short yard situations. Like, he dominated goal line work last year. He was pretty effective at it. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. But yeah, I know people are taking that and being like, Achan's not going to get any more goal. I'm like, maybe he won't have like 80% of the share like he did last year, but it's not going to go to zero either. Like, it'll probably be something like 50-50 or maybe 60-40 in favor of Achan, something like that, because I'm a big believer. Yeah, maybe on the 1 yard line, you don't hammer it in with Achan. But if you're there on like the 3 yard line or whatever, when you bring Achan off the field, you're letting everyone in that stadium know we're about to run it up the middle. When Achan is out there, the whole playbook is open because he's so versatile that it's why for years I was like, everyone can keep doubting Austin Eckler and say he's not going to score touchdowns. This guy is going to be one of the best touchdown scorers in football. And he was, because that versatility is more important, I think, than giving it to a big dude and saying smash. Like, that's an old school style of football, you know?
Right. No, I love it. Now, here we go. I do got to ask you, though, like, let's say you can never watch a Knicks game again unless you choose Wright or Gordon. Who are you going with for late rounds?
I would go, at this point, I would go with Gordon. If you asked me 2 weeks ago, it would have been right.
Same boat, man. Same boat. And that is because of preseason. I'm not going to lie. I'm sorry, but that is because of preseason. I have not been impressed. Then speaking of Eckler, we got to do him a little bit there. I got to bring up the hot name right now. Ja'Cory Croskett-Merritt. Please tell me anything about this guy. And I had an interesting scenario I talked to you a little about earlier. His name's the hot subject in fantasy football. If you're in dynasty leagues, if you're in redraft leagues where you just had your draft, I feel like this is the highest value you're going to have with him, unless he actually checks those boxes and starts games. What if he doesn't? So should we unload him now? That's my question.
I think it's worth shopping, because even if he hits, like, the hype is so high right now that you might be able to get someone that is better even if he hits, you know? Like, people are going to look at, like, Alfred Morris and be like, he could be that. Yes. I don't think he can, because he's a good runner. He could be effective as the runner. Austin Eckler is going to have the passing downs on lock, and that is going to hamper the ceiling. It just is and I wouldn't be surprised if Eckler has a role on the ground. Again, he was a very effective goal line runner for very long periods of his career. Brian Robinson Jr. is still on the roster right now.
Yes.
Chris Rodriguez was actually the starter in last night, so like it's hard to say. Like, look, he had that 30-yard touchdown, looked great. Big, beautiful bill I tweeted out. I was like, we're going to have some fun with this, but I'm a little hesitant to fully buy in. Like, I updated my rankings today, and I have him and Austin Eckler back to back, and it's something like 36, 37. Like, yeah, at that point, it's worth the dart throw, because if they do trade Robinson, there's just so much volume up for grabs, but I'm not taking them over someone that I feel pretty confident will have a weekly role. Like I have Jordan Mason ahead of them, I believe. I have Tyrone Tracy ahead of them, Jalen Warren, guys like that. So they're home run swings, but the floor is very, very low, because we have, if anyone is telling you they know for sure how that backfield is going to operate, they're lying.
Right, exactly. And a guy that you could probably target for him, because he's falling way too far, is Calvin Ridley, in my opinion. I think that's a guy that you could probably target. I know you're high on him, so I want you to talk a little bit about Calvin Ridley.
I've been high on Calvin.
High? Yeah, you are high on him, right?
Yeah, he's in my top 20 wide receivers. I've been high on Calvin Ridley for, this is like year 5 or 6 now. I love the talent. Like, everything you want is there. He's a good route runner. He can stretch the field, contested catch guy at times, could be utilized in the red zone. But last year he had awful quarterback play. Like, no disrespect to Will Levis and Mason Rudolph. And despite that, still finished as a wide receiver 3 in fantasy. Now he's being drafted as a wide receiver 3, whereas I think I love him as a 3. I'd feel comfortable with him as a 2. I just think Cam Ward is a big quarterback upgrade, and again, very small sample size, but I do think he is just going to lock in on Calvin Ridley and throw plenty. And the Titans defense is porous, so a lot of catch up is a good thing for Calvin Ridley. I think he surprises this year, and is a top 20. I think if everything was to break right his ceiling is like a low-end wide receiver 1. I'm not ranking him
it.
as that. I'm not advising him to be that for people, but I think if things, like, it wouldn't shock me at all if after 17 weeks, we're like, oh, wow, Calvin Ridley's the wide receiver 11 or something like that.
Right. Right. And you can get him in the 9th or 10th round. I mean, it is a steal. I'm 100% with you. I've been high on him for the last 2 years. Not all 5, but I've been high on him for the last 2 years, and I love him. So I think that's fun to talk about. In Tennessee, Tajay Spears, another injury. Are you moving Pollard up your boards?
I moved him up a bit. Like, I had him at something like 26 at running back, and I moved him up to, he's still outside my top 20, but it's not really a Tony Pollard thing. It's just that there's a lot of running backs that I just like a lot. Like the ones that we've discussed already, and Walker, Pacheco. I love DeAndre Swift this year. James Conner is universally underrated. Henderson, Hampton, Harvey. Like, I'm just more excited about these guys. I think the ceiling is higher, so I have them ahead of Pollard. But Pollard is like a rock solid RB2. I had him on a number of teams last year. And yeah, he's not a league winner. You're never gonna be like, man, if it wasn't for Tony Pollard, my year would be rough. But you also weren't like, oh man, I need to replace this RB2. Like, he was just rock solid,
Right.
kind of set it and forget it type in that RB2 spot in my lineups.
Yeah, 100%. I have a guy like that. I want your take on this too. It's another hot subject on this podcast. I love Cortland Sutton. I think he is highly undervalued. You can get him anywhere in the draft, very, very late. And it feels like, people are taking T. Higgins in like the 2nd and 3rd rounds. To me, I'm taking Brock Bowers 2nd round, or you can take a solid running back 2nd, 3rd round, and then sit back and take Cortland Sutton in the 5th round. What's your thoughts on that?
I agree with you. I'm probably not as high on Sutton as you, but I do think he is very underrated. And especially because last season, like, the first few weeks were bad. Like, Bo Nix didn't throw his first touchdown until week 4. That's not on Cortland Sutton, But from week 8 on, he was the wide receiver 7, averaging 18 fantasy points per game. Now, I don't have him ranked that high. I have him behind like Calvin Ridley and stuff. He's just outside my top 20. But the floor is super safe, and I think the ceiling is better than he gets credit for. And that is a very sneaky stack that I like a lot this year. Bo Nix and Cortland. Yeah, you get those two together, and you're getting potentially, I won't say wide receiver 1, but like a high end 2, let's say, and a guy who could be like I won't say top 5, but right, because the top 5 is stacked at quarterback, but right outside of that, and you're not paying much of a steep price to get it.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about T. Higgins. I think he's going too high, only because I don't like to draft guys with the injury history. I text you a bizarre text probably last night. I'm sorry, but
no,
it's an obscure player. I was watching the that Bengals game last night. This kid looked unbelievable, Mitchell Tinsley, and I feel like he's not getting any attention. You could take him. People probably won't even know who he is. You might even let him go undrafted and take him after the draft. I mean, that's how unheard of he is. But I feel like this is a sneaky guy to go get. I really feel that way. He's going to beat out Jermaine Burton. He hasn't done anything there. And Andre, he's good, but he's not like a flashy. Whereas what I've seen Tinsley, mine very, very small sample size, but I heard he's lighting up in training camp. He looked great in these games, like game changing great. So, what are your thoughts on this? Is this crazy? Am I seeing something that I don't know? I haven't read anything about him, so I'm just curious. Am I seeing potential to end up being the wide receiver number 2 if Higgins ends up on the injury list like he usually does, unfortunately?
Yeah, I think it's that. Like, I'm not gonna. I do think T. Higgins is getting pulled up a little bit more than I'm comfortable taking him. Like, I don't really have a bunch of him. I'd rather have Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore. I even just moved the Mike Evans ahead of him.
Right
but Tinsley, because like you said, T. Higgins has missed a lot of games in his career. So if anything were to happen, I think Tinsley slides into him or Chase. Mm-hmm. Like Tinsley will probably struggle when those two are healthy, just because of how big of a target share they get. And then
for sure,
you add in Chase Brown is going to be heavily targeted. They have a million tight ends.
They do.
But he should be the 3. It also might be one of these situations where, like, Andre is the 3 because he's just better in the slot. Mm-hmm. But Tinsley is the, like, if anything happens to our top two guys, he's leapfrogging everyone and he's getting, so I think he's one of those guys. Like, you could draft him or grab him off the waiver wire late, don't really expect to use him. Or if you have to drop him when buys hit or whatever, when an injury happens, be ready to pounce,
Go get him.
Eventually the odds are that one happens. It's football,
For sure. And do I have time for one more question?
We have time for as many as you want.
Thanks, brother. Cowboys running back room. If you want to call it a room, what do you want to do there? What are we doing?
I'm going Jaden Blue or bust. And look, I know Jaden Blue might not work out, but I can at least convince myself that there's upside there. I cannot do that with Javonte Williams. And I don't even consider Miles Sanders a thing anymore. Javonte, ever since he hurt his knee, like, I was a huge Javonte fan when he was coming into the NFL. But ever since he tore up his knee, he hasn't been the same guy. And it was so bad last year that the Broncos were not using him as a runner towards the end of the year. He was solely out there to catch passes.
Yep.
But he ranked amongst all running backs. He had the 4th lowest yards per target. He wasn't efficient. He just had the ball thrown his way a lot. So I think Blue has an opportunity, being as explosive as he is, as smooth of a runner as he is, and a legit weapon out of the backfield. When I was doing my NFL draft write-ups about a lot of these players, for Blue, I was like, his ceiling to me is a CJ Spiller type. And as a Bills fan, that's amazing. So, again, the floor is low, but you're not paying a steep price for Blue. If it doesn't work out, I'll take upside shots on the waiver wire. But to me, Javonte's all floor, and I think those are players that lose you championships, because maybe they help you in a given week with an injury or a bye week replacement or something like that. But what ultimately ends up happening is you hold that player just in case, and then you're not taking upside shots on the waiver wire. And there is no world where Javonte Williams is going to win people league. He might help you again in a week when you have injuries or a bye or something like that. But I don't play to win week 8. Obviously, you got to have enough wins to get into the playoffs. But when I'm talking about late, and both of these guys are later in drafts, I want upside. I'm all about upside. I think that's what differentiates champions, and no one cares if you finish in 8th or 6th or 4th, or people remember who won the league. So I think that's what you should be playing for. And to me, with the Cowboys backfield, Blue is the clear cut. If this hits, he could change the dynamic of my team.
I like it. And we will close with the Bills question. And this is a very important one in my mind. What's the deal with the wide receivers there? Who are we going after? If Shakir's out for extended periods, am I crazy for thinking Elijah Moore is like a dark horse there? I don't know why he's not getting anything. Early oh my gosh, I could have edit that. But early training camp had him looking like he was like Josh Allen's favorite guy. So did he just fall off a cliff? I haven't seen much of him since then. I was excited he was there. I was hoping this could be his Jerry Jeudy like resurgence. And I don't know what happened. So we're all going after Josh Palmer now? What are we doing there?
Yeah, Elijah Moore had a rough one. And look, the entire Bills team had a rough one against the Bears the other night. But I think Elijah Moore is there in case anything happens to Khalil Shakir. He could be the next slot guy. But I do think the top 3 receivers are locked up. And it's, in my opinion, it's Shakir in the slot and then Coleman and Palmer out wide. And I think Shakir is the floor play. He is the safest of them all. And, like, if you watch the Bills, you'd be like, yeah, Shakir is the go-to guy. Like 3rd and 6, need to convert it. It's almost guaranteed to go his way. But for fantasy purposes, I think the 2 out wide guys are worth taking a shot on, especially at cost, because they're both going outside the top 50 wide receivers. I like Coleman a little bit more because I think that he started to flash last year, then got hurt. Then the Bills get Amari Cooper. It was never really the same for him. But they have incentive to have him out there and everything. On a different pod I do, a co-host of mine, Stevie Johnson, former Bills wide receiver, he really likes Josh Palmer, and Palmer is the best downfield separator of the bunch, but I have no problem going after either one, even both. Like, Coleman is the more expensive one, but one of, like, and I said this today on a Bills show I went on as a guest. I was like, look, if Coleman and Palmer were tied to like 20 other offenses, I'd have no interest. But they're tied to Josh Allen on a team that needs an outside wide receiver desperately to step up.
Yep.
At a late round cost, I'll throw darts there all day.
Yeah, facts. And so where's Kincaid? Is he going to fall into Pitt's category soon? Because he is in my book. I've invested so much in him. Is he going to break me? Is he going to hurt me again? Am I going to be hurt again?
It's Dawson Knox does
He doesn't go away.
Yeah,
I love Dawson. He's the reason why Kincaid is not as successful as he is. Knox continues to be on the field, get touchdowns and opportunities. Looks like he put on some weight too. Like, I'm not talking muscle too. I watched some of those preseason games. Like, Knox has been having a good offseason. He's having a good time. So I'm hoping Kincaid can do something. But give me your skinny on this.
I think Kincaid has reached a point where, probably because of Kyle Pitts, people are shying away from him because they have been burned. But I think he has reached a point now where he's going as like a tight end 2, and I'm okay throwing that flyer on him, because last season there were games where he would be the top target, where he would see 10 targets. Like, it was very disappointing. And on the NFL podcast, they joke with me all the time. Like, after the Bills lost to the Chiefs, I was like, I'm done with Dalton Kincaid. He dropped a pass right through his hands. Like, I'm done. But then all summer, I was like, like the Bills, as much as I might be in on Coleman and Palmer at cost, they're no sure thing. And like, Shakir's banged up right now. So yeah, like I'm okay at the price that it costs to get Kincaid. I don't want him to be my 1, but if I don't love my tight end 1, and there's only a handful of them that I think you could feel the utmost confidence in, why not take a late round flyer on, again, someone tied to one of the best offenses in football?
I like it. Great philosophy. And you're a great dude, man. I appreciate the time here. This has been awesome. This has been really, really cool. A lot of fun. We had a good time at the expo, and I appreciate you coming on, bro. It's hopefully we do something with this team. We need help in wide receivers, so we'll see what I can trade. I'll be kicking you some screenshots, and you tell me what you think.
Please do.
But we need to get in contention, because that draft was rough. 14 team. I tend not to do those too often, and you should see you talk about getting sniped. It's impossible not to get sniped in a 14-team league. So, yeah.
The thing about 14-team leagues is if anyone loves every spot on their team, they're lying.
Facts. Yep. All right, brother. Thank you again. Have a great season. I'll be in touch, obviously, so appreciate the time. Means a lot.
Hey, and go our team.
Yeah, go our team. We're Prestige Worldwide, by the way. That's our team name.
I like it. Go Prestige Worldwide.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. You got to say worldwide.
Why?
Yes. All right, see you, man. Later. Thank you. We really hope you enjoyed that. Michael had some great insight. He's a little high on Justin Fields there.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are the experts. I'm not. I'm just here for content, I guess. So we'll see. We'll wait and see. That's why I can't wait for the season to start. But huge thank you to Michael for being on the show. Hopefully next time I'll get to meet him as well.
Massive shout out. Like I said, please follow him. He's on the NFL Network. He's Rotoballer. He's on a show, Bill's Banter, with Stevie Johnson. You can follow him on X at Michael F. Florio. And we can't thank you enough for listening. And we really value you guys here. This is the Start and Betem Fantasy Football Podcast. And just hopefully we have you back. Thank you so much.
Hit my over in the WNBA.
Different, magnetic. Yo, my raps volted, here my memory banks that never be released. Box cut inside the apple, you're in for a treat. Paper cuts in a vicious way, run it back, dead giveaway, the handoff, the cease. Reigns Tony Kukoc, I've been diagnosed with whack rapper symptoms.